Good morning. Welcome to Village in Motion. Today is Wednesday, June 13th, 2018, and it's time for our Dining Services call-in show with Chef Michael Ritt, Executive Chef Michael Ritt,
Hey, just call me
and
Michael.
Mary Smith, one of our registered dietitians. Good morning.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
How are you all today?
Good.
Phenomenal.
It's good
I
to
gotta
be
say
here.
a shout out to my wife. It's her birthday today.
Well, happy birthday to your
So
wife,
we're
the
gonna be
most
celebrating
patient
it.
woman in the world.
One of the, yes. One thing we want to talk about right off the bat is our pop-up. We did our Father's Day pop-up store.
The elephant in the room here.
The elephant in the room here, and the beer and the wine and all the goodies.
So
And
what can we get in the pop-up store?
we're going to have different types of baskets. We have baskets with little tools in them, chocolates, obviously, bath accessories, wine. We're selling beer. We have Bud Light, Heineken, Sam Adams, Yingling. We have red and white wine, and that's all going to be available today, 2 to 4, in Hunter's Crossing lobby. That's put on by our phenomenal catering department.
So yesterday it was in Village Square.
Correct.
But today it's going to be in Hunter's Crossing.
Correct. And any baskets left over from the sale will be available for purchase at the Town Center store for the remainder of the week. So if you can't,
After today, go to Town Center store.
for the baskets.
For the
not beer and
baskets
wine.
only, the beer and wine will
Got to
not
get the
be
beer and
available.
wine today. Get out there, get your beer and wine. Great sales, great assortment of alcohol to
The
purchase.
prices are terrific.
Prices are terrific. I think it's $1 a beer.
It is $1 beer because my husband came home with 2 6-packs and I said,
There
"Where
you
did
go.
get
Thank
that?"
you
my
for
God.
contributing to dining service.
Right, yes.
So he was a happy man for
He
the
was a
weekend.
happy man, yes.
Good. Yeah, so that's one of the things going on. Obviously, this past Friday we had Prime Night.
What was
And
Prime Night? I didn't
Prime
understand.
Prime Night, we just, this is one of those resident-driven
Mm-hmm.
requests, and to show you that, yes, we do hear you and we do react. And, these are what we're hearing in the focus groups, and we have a focus group, I think, coming up on, sorry for my poor eyesight, but we have our focus group coming up in June 25th, and that will be, and I think we're doing it in the Akatik room.
Okay.
And there's going to be more material coming out for that. But, they're a great time to come sit. I'll be there. Ty, our dining director, will be there. Jason will be there. And, taking questions, comments, concerns about the dining program.
A focus group is yet another opportunity for us
Communication
to
platform
communicate with
that
you.
we like to use. We have, we have the comment cards. We have all the dining groups. We have the large resident dining council that we meet actually tomorrow. And then each venue and the stores and catering have their own council that meet. Coming by dining admin, email. I mean, there are so many platforms that if you have a question or a concern or a comment, that you can definitely get it to us.
And one other way that you can get it to us, and we haven't said that, we said this is a call-in show, but we haven't reminded people what the telephone number is. And the telephone number is 703-663-3333. So if you have a question for Chef Michael or for Mary, please call us. Let's let Mary get a word in here.
Thank you.
Mary, you have some
Michael
information.
always does all the talking.
I know, we have to kind of slow him down here.
Just kidding. So actually, we got a lot of feedback in the comment cards in our dining facilities. We always read them. And so a lot of questions recently have been about the different sugar products available on the tables at every single dining facility we have on campus. And I just wanted to take a moment to highlight what each different colored packet means.
We have yellow and pink.
And blue and white.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to go through those for residents just so they can be aware of what each thing is and why they're so popular right now. So all these different sugars, there's the white one is a regular cane sugar, so what you would buy in a store and probably do your baking with. And then the other ones are what we call sugar substitutes, or alternative sweeteners, artificial sweeteners, things like that. And so these are really popular right now because it's a way to combat obesity, metabolic syndrome, and diabetes, because the sugar is so much stronger than a cane sugar, but it cuts your calories because it's digested differently than sugar is in your body. So a lot of times these sugars are either not absorbed by the body at all, so just excreted, or
They taste sweet, but
They
your
taste
body
sweet.
isn't going to keep them.
Yes, because of their chemical structure is different, your body does not store them. It kind of just, you enjoy the sweetness and it'll excrete it
And it's
naturally. Or if it doesn't excrete 100% of it, a very small percent of it will be retained by your body. So this is really popular with diabetics because it won't be absorbed into your bloodstream and raise your blood glucose. So you'll see, if you ever see products that say sugar-free or diet, what that actually means is the sugar they're using is a different artificial sweetener. So we have all of these available in the dining rooms. And I also want to highlight that something that's unique about the United States is that the FDA has a whole bunch of research on these to approve on whether or not it's safe for us to sell these in America.
That's the Food and Drug
Yes,
Administration.
absolutely. And so it's really interesting because you can go into European countries and they will have more artificial sweeteners available to their population that have not been approved as safe here
They
yet.
haven't been tested.
Yes, so like the FDA has their own guidelines to make sure that this would be safe for Americans to have. So the ones available to us have had a large amount of research done to show that in small proportions, like in your drinks, they're generally recognized as safe. And that is actually a term used by the FDA. It's called GRAS, generally recognized as safe based off of the research being done around
So you
these
might
products.
travel in some other country and taste something and come back here and say, well, I had this in Timbuktu and it was wonderful, but God knows what was in it.
Correct.
Yeah, essentially.
And it goes for on the food side as well. You know, the FDA has strict guidelines on what comes into this country. You know, the prerequisite for fresh or raw product coming in. So it's a good thing.
Yes.
You know, and
It
you need
protects
to
us.
have these checks and balances in place.
Right. Very true.
And then with Erickson, we take it a step further with a lot of our purveyors that we have our own vetting process. So we take the FDA and then we put on top of that.
Make it even more safe.
Correct. You know,
Mary, what's the difference between the yellow ones and the pink ones and the
Okay.
blue ones?
Thank you. So they are also known as high intensity sweeteners because each one of these have a different level of sweetness. So the yellow one we called Sweet Plus, but if you look on the nutrition label on the back, it's sucralose. It's 600 times sweeter than regular sugar.
Wow.
So if you were sweetening your coffee,
600
600
times?
times, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's crazy, right?
That'll
You can't
wake
even
you up.
imagine that. So a lot of times, like people to sweeten their coffee would use like half a packet or maybe one packet, whereas with regular cane sugar, you might use 2 to 3. So you're cutting down the amount that you're putting in, and it lowers the calories and the effect that it has on your body. So remember how I said that some of them are completely excreted and some are stored a little bit? So this is actually only 15% of it is stored in your body.
Okay.
That means that the other 85% is excreted.
Okay.
So that also gives you that benefit that this would be a little bit safer for diabetics when it comes to watching their blood glucose levels. So
Good.
that's really good. And then something that I didn't realize until actually someone came up, one of the residents came up and told me, was that the reason that this is very popular in aging in place populations is because as you get older, your taste buds can change and you might need things to be sweeter just so you can taste it a little bit.
And this one is sold on the commercial market under the name of Splenda.
That is correct. And it's pretty much always in a yellow packet.
Right.
But if you forget which one it is, like it will have on the back like the nutrition part of it, and if you look at the bottom, it will say sucralose.
Okay.
So that's 600 times sweeter and insoluble to your body. So that's
Okay.
pretty good. The pink one is saccharin. It is 300 to 500 times sweeter than sugar, so not quite as sweet as the yellow packet, but still gets the job done with its sweetness. And then this is actually mainly just for drinks though, because in large doses it can make a very bitter and metallic taste.
Okay.
And so it's used commonly in like medicines and toothpastes and dietary supplements like vitamins.
Okay.
Just to add a little sweetness to make it whatever you're enjoying a little bit more enjoyable. And the blue one is actually probably one of the most known ones right now because it's aspartame. And I would say as a dietitian that this is probably the most notorious sweetener because now there is a little bit of research linking that high intake of aspartame is linked to cancer.
Okay.
So that's why a lot of people are like, don't
A
drink
lot of
Diet
talk
Coke.
about that right now.
Yeah, so this is in your diet soda products.
Okay.
And so now actually even soda products based off of this research are trying to create a balance of other sugar sweeteners so that it will have less of a link to cancer for the people who enjoy these diet products. So this is just something to be aware of, that have this one in moderation, and if you enjoy the other ones, I would probably recommend other sugar sweeteners over the blue one.
Because there's a little question about that.
Because
right
there
now.
is a question about how much aspartame intake is okay. And so yes, if you enjoy a soda every now and then, do that, but don't make it your only source of fluid.
Right.
We
The
want to have
abundance is
other
what
water.
gets
It's true with everything.
Absolutely.
Too
And
much.
the other thing is, this is actually only 200 times sweeter than normal
So
sugar.
you're likely to eat more of it anyway to
Yeah,
get
you're
that
likely
sweet
to need a little bit more.
Okay.
And so something that I think is really important to point out when it comes to our own dining facility procedures is, if these sugar sweeteners don't add calories and are better for diabetics and prevent obesity and are thought to even combat obesity, how come we're not using these products when we make cakes and cookies in our dining halls? And the answer is that cane sugar, so normal sugar that we see, is really good at blending and actually making food, whereas these sugar sweeteners create a very crumbly product and it won't stick together.
Right.
And in large doses, it will actually alter the taste. So that's why the sugar sweeteners, you'll find them in small packets on for your drinks, because they're meant to be used in small amounts. Whereas if you're making cookies, or like I said, the cakes and desserts that we have here, we're going to use normal sugar because you're still preserving that taste, and your texture is normal, and your product is actually going to stay together and look
We're better
good.
off eating a little bit of that dessert
Yes.
and really actually cutting down on the sugar
Yes.
in our diet.
We actually, we do serve some sugar-free desserts in our dining venues, and we actually use a company called American Quality Foods that they actually have worked with us to package certain items that we want to utilize in our dining venue. So we do use bulk Splenda in some of those desserts or cookies. So we do work with purveyors to formulate.
And we have some good quality sugar-free ice cream.
We do. So we're always
and
looking
sugar-free
at
drinks as
Yes.
well.
Yeah, so we're always looking at expanding and the variety.
Right.
So just a couple more things to go over.
Yes.
Obviously, Sunday's Father's Day.
Sunday's Father's Day.
So-
Do we have a special menu?
We have special menus in all the venues, and there will be special times that
There's special, yes, similar times to what we've had for some of the.
for Mother's Day.
For Mother's
Pretty much
Day.
for Mother's Day, same for Father's
So
Day.
check your menu to see what the times are going to be.
Correct, and it's always, that's why I say the weekly menu from Dining Service is a great source of information.
That's your Bible.
Yes, and I know residents carry it around with them wherever they go.
I have it right up there on the refrigerator.
There you go. This Friday, over at Town Center, on the patio between the bank and the store, we'll be having the farmers market, and that's going on from 11 to 2. It's
And this is
Knowles,
from Knowles Produce.
Produce, cash and or credit that they take, and
But not your resident charge.
No, because this is through Knowles Produce. This isn't through Greenspring. It went very well last week. They're bringing in a lot of stuff.
Now, will they be coming every week throughout the summer?
Every other week.
Every other week
well,
throughout the summer on the patio at Town Center.
Correct. Basically, what we're going to be doing is twice a month. We're looking at bringing it all the way through September.
Now, there's something different this year.
Correct. We're not doing the cookout simultaneously with the produce because we thought that it was maybe a little overboard, a little overkill at the same time, and just the space. There wasn't enough space. So on the 29th, I think our first cookout is 29th, and it's going to be from 11 to 2, Town Center. Again, that's going to be resident charge, flex meal, cash. It's open to both residents and employees.
So this is standalone lunchtime cookout on the patio
Hamburgers,
behind Town
hot dogs, chicken.
Center. And there's space to sit outside there.
Absolutely.
Enjoy a lunchtime
Yeah.
cookout.
A lunchtime cookout
And the
outside.
food's always good.
We can't beat a cookout.
Oh, no. That's
So,
good. Cooked fresh right there.
Absolutely. Again, like I said, the meeting that we scheduled for the focus group is on the 25th. It's 2:30, 3:30 in the Village Square Theater. And then the following day, we're doing our mix and mingle. And that'll be Tuesday.
Okay, what's a mix and mingle?
Mix and mingle is pretty much, and that's going to be at the Academic Room again from 1 to 3. Mix and mingle is an invitation to all the residents to come out, and we're going to try to get as much of dining management, the chefs, the managers, obviously administration will be there, and we're going to have some food provided by the chefs and the catering department.
So this
and
is mix and mingle with executives from all over Green Spring,
there'll be, some of the executive team will be there.
but also dining services leadership.
Correct. You'll have all the managers from the different venues. If you have questions, if you want just to get to know, we have some new managers. If you want to get to know somebody, if you partake of a certain venue and you really never been over to another one, you want to meet the managers there. It's a very casual time. It's very laid back. If you just want to talk about whatever, it's a great atmosphere to do something like that.
And you have some free food.
Yes.
Now, see,
Always.
that alone to me is a reason to go.
Absolutely.
Not that I wouldn't
Absolutely.
want to mix and mingle also.
But so, we have that coming up in June. We have,
Oh, this month, I think, and now I forget the date, there is a town hall
there are,
for the cafe and the fireside.
correct, that will be,
Not today.
no.
I want to say the 20-something.
The,
It will be on the scroll.
right, I don't have, let me see if I have that, and I apologize.
here.
That's coming up this Tuesday.
This
And
coming Tuesday.
correct, and it's always in the fireside dining room, and they'll do fireside first from 10 to 11, and then right afterwards from 11 to 12, we'll do the Potomac Cafe.
So if you haven't been, if you eat in those dining rooms, I see they have it up on the screen.
Correct.
If you
And-
eat in those dining rooms, come and
I'll be there,
Express your
and
opinions.
dining admin will be there. You'll have Corey, and now Chef Mark I don't know if Chef Mark will be back. Chef Mark's currently out, taking some time off, but you'll have the management team from Fireside. You have the management team from Potomac Cafe. You'll have some of the chefs from Fireside, and it's a great. Again, we've talked about it over and over. There's so many ways to communicate and to meet with the managers, and so many platforms
Yeah,
that we provide.
One thing that came up, we had our subcommittee meeting for the cafe this past week, and one thing that came up for that venue at least, Corey said that they have in the comment cards that people put in, for most of the venues, people would say, I would really like to have this food or that food, or why can't we have more of this? Why can't we have more of that? We have a real problem in the cafe. People don't tell managers what they'd like to have to eat. So if you're a person who eats in the cafe, get those comment cards out and tell management what you'd like to have
please
to eat.
do. And I think that they've done a phenomenal job in the cafe, and
Oh, we have terrific food.
Yeah, changing up the menus and bringing
Today,
it
for
up.
example, is a good example. They're having crab cake sliders. They're doing a lot of sliders as
Yes.
a
Well, it's summertime.
It's
you know,
summertime.
And,
Sliders are great.
I know a couple weeks ago they did a brisket slider.
Barbecue, pulled pork.
Yeah, pulled pork. So they're mixing it up, and I agree with you. My boss has a great saying that says, "Closed mouths do not get fed,"
Oh, that's a good one.
and it's so true that, And I have one that I say, "I don't know what I don't know."
That's one of your faves.
So, if you have a suggestion, please let us know. That we wouldn't want it if we didn't put the comment cards out. It's a great vehicle to utilize to, suggest, hey, have you ever tried this? Or we really like this. We'd like to see it more
That's right.
often. So utilize those. Talk to the managers. Talk to your reps for your dining council.
We have something happening tomorrow, and you two are very much a part of it, and that's our dining council meeting. And I'll tell you what happens at this meeting. There are about 25 people on the committee.
Correct.
You will be there. Mary will be there. Our two, the director and the assistant director of dining services will be there. It's a big meeting.
Yes.
And we're there about an hour and a half. We're talking about what's been on the comment cards, what's coming up in dining services. If you think nobody cares and nobody's listening to what goes on in dining services, you would be very wrong. So it's a major meeting that happens once a month. These are the people that really work on your behalf as residents for dining services.
So, and I think that we're pretty receptive to a lot of the comments and
very much
questions.
so.
And, the one thing I'll say about our department is we're very transparent. We're not going to sneak anything in. We do a lot of, there's open communication and dialogue, I think, in these meetings. and it's a really positive platform. And you know, people have concerns and questions, and they're brought up, and you know, not everything is, you know, puppy dogs and rainbows every day.
Of course not.
But I think it's a good time for us to have, you know, straight, honest dialogue. And it's also, we utilize this council, also you're our voice as well. You know, at Dining Admin, we're just a few people, but when we talk and when we try to explain the reasonings why, I think utilizing the council as, you know, a voice for dining is a great platform.
Yes.
You know, and to help get the word out and to help explain the whys and the wheres and what are you doing. And you know, everything we do is, you know, we hear comments, oh, you're doing this for money, or you're doing this. You know, everything we do is for the betterment, and I've always said this, of the residents. You know, always look, how can we improve the menus? How can we improve service? What's the new thing that we can bring in?
Well, here's an example. There was a food that we enjoyed in the cafe called chicken Kiev, which we enjoyed a lot. And I asked the sous chef there why we hadn't seen it recently, and she said, well, it's no longer a food that is on the list of foods available from Cisco, our supplier. And I said, well, that makes sense. And so I mentioned that to another resident, and she said, well, why can't we make it ourselves? And I said, well, this is a very, very labor-intensive food to prepare. And I explained to her how one makes chicken Kiev, which, now tell me if I'm wrong, but I think you have to take a chicken breast and split it, and then put butter
stuff it
and other things in it. And she said, oh, that does sound too hard. So once I explained it, she was like, okay, so maybe that's something that would another choice might be better.
And remember, we're not cooking for 4 or 5 people.
That's
like,
right.
You know, a lot of our residents say, well, I used to make them like, how many people did you cook for? And they're
Yeah,
like,
you
4.
do 200 or 300 chicken
So we're
breasts.
cooking for 400. So
Right.
it's a little different. So, you know, but I think we also look at, I know here in Woodland Skies, we couldn't get the cordon bleu, so they made their own version of cordon bleu. And the residents liked it very much. So we try to adapt and overcome,
Sure.
and most times we're successful. We're looking at, it's summertime now, so you might see lighter fare. You know, a lot of the cold soups are back, and I know that's a
people are
fan
loving those.
favorite.
Yes.
Huge
More
favorite.
entree salads, maybe some sandwiches, maybe increase your selection of burgers, because you know people tend to in the summertime eat lighter.
Well,
You know,
those
it's
little
not-
sliders are a good idea.
Yeah, it's
Maybe-
not
maybe
cold
you just
outside.
want one slider.
So you don't need the, you know, the hearty, the stews and the pot pies and things like that.
Right.
But I mean, those are available and they're great items. But you know, I talk to the chefs. Look at, you know, mixing it up. It's summertime. You know,
But we do encourage you, if you have suggestions, what's your favorite summertime food? Get it on a comment card. We still have a lot of summer yet to go.
So in July we have a few things coming
What's
up.
happening in July?
Well, obviously we have July 4th. So
Happens every year.
we'll have special menus for that in ours. Wednesday, July 11th, you know, we do the birthday cake celebration still. We just had it here.
Good.
And, you know, we just put some birthday cakes out. And for that month, you know, we have, you know, let the residents, you know, if you want a piece of cake, they're usually out in the lobby. Enjoy yourself. July, we have Christmas in July, the week
that'll
of
be fun.
July 8th. And this is another resident-driven request. The week of July through the 14th, you'll see Christmas decorations in all the dining rooms, and the actual Christmas in July menu will be offered on Friday, July 13th.
Good.
So again, going back to, we hear what you're saying. I think that we did it last year, and people were like, wow, this is really cool.
I remember we had decorations up
Yeah,
and the whole
and
thing.
we right in the middle of summer, let's have a Christmas dinner.
There we go.
And I think the
I think we
residents,
could wear our ugly Christmas sweaters and go all out.
maybe we have a
Shame.
contest for the ugliest Christmas sweater. But we do a lot of, you know, I always say, we do hear you. You know, oh, you don't read the comment cards. We do, and
yeah.
you know,
Oh, yes.
you know,
I read 'em all.
And we have a report that Phyllis, God bless her, you know, for all the work she does in putting those together. But there's an actual long report that all the venues
And
get.
while we say that about that, we have a couple of minutes. When you are putting down a comment, make it specific. Don't just say, that was the worst meal I ever had in the history of the world. What was bad about it? What was the problem with it? Was your pork chop tough? Were the beans not cooked? You know what?
Too spicy,
Yeah. What was your
yeah.
concern? It doesn't help us if you just
More
give an
information is better.
overall. Yeah, give us details.
Specifics.
Yes.
You know, and also understand, and I always say this, that we have 1,900 residents here. What may be spicy to you may be very bland, not
Right.
even bland, but just fine to someone else.
Right.
Green beans. I always bring up green beans.
Oh yeah, green beans are
Some people love them
Hot
al
topic.
dente, and some people love them smothered.
right.
You know, so there's that fine
Getting
line.
in between.
So we try to hear everybody, and that's why, you know, we rotate the menus that we do. I think we're rotating the sides a little more frequently now, and that was another request from the focus groups that we heard. Can you rotate and now that it's spring and summer, you know, the abundance of fresh produce and fresh vegetables are there, so, you know, we'll take advantage of
A little
that.
more rotation.
You know, looking at our specials rotate every 2 weeks. We have a special soup every week. Jefferson, every day, a new menu. They're doing more action stations, you know, out in the tables. So these are things that we've heard from everybody.
Good.
You know, so
Well,
think
we're glad. Go ahead. We're
Something
about
else
out of
that
time.
do I have time to say something? Okay. So something else that actually the dietitian, so me and Helen, and we're waiting for the date to be solidified because we want to bring a speech language pathologist with us, is something we heard from the residents as well, which is how to create your meals so they're softer. So for people who may have a little bit more challenge
Okay.
swallowing their foods. And so this class that we're going to be putting on is for residents to attend, but also their caretakers as well. If you have an aide or a family member who likes to bring in food to you. So just an educational session on how to prepare your food and ideas to still keep that nourishment in it, but making it softer, whether that's blending it or just adding a few products to soften it so you can swallow easier and like
Good
avoid
idea.
coughing. So that's something that I will be promoting more in July, but based off of resident comments that we as the dietitians have been hearing.
We'll look
that
forward for more
yeah,
information on that.
And I want to give kudos to Mary and Helen that they've definitely made their presence felt more.
Good
on the-
educators.
Good educators doing some great tabling over here in IL, and I think we hear a lot of positive from the residents. 2 more things I want to bring up, and these are coming
Go
up.
fast.
July 26th, we'll have the Diversity Expo in the Conference Center.
Always good food.
And on August, I know this is down the road, but August 12th, Seafood Fest.
All right.
So, and I know that's a big, you know,
Very
fan
popular.
favorite. So,
Sounds
a
good.
lot going on.
And don't forget to come.